In just 70 years, South Korea transformed from one of the poorest countries on Earth into a global superpower. A nation devastated by war, with no natural resources, became home to Samsung, BTS, and the world's fastest internet. How did a small peninsula achieve what most countries could only dream of? The answer will surprise you. Picture this, it's 1953. Seoul lies in ruins. The Korean War has just ended, leaving behind nothing but ash and despair. The average income? Less than $100 per year. Even Ghana and the Philippines were wealthier. Foreign aid workers doubted Korea would ever recover. Fast forward to today, and South Korea stands as the world's 10th largest economy, a technological giant, and a cultural phenomenon sweeping across every continent. This isn't just a success story. This is a miracle. And today, we're revealing the 10 remarkable ways South Korea achieved the impossible. Number 10. The Education Revolution. While other nations were building armies, South Korea was building something far more powerful, an educated population. In the 1950s, literacy rates barely reached 20%. But Korean families made an extraordinary choice. Even in poverty, they invested everything in education. Parents worked multiple jobs. Grandparents sold their land. All to send children to school. The government responded by making education the national priority. By the 1960s, primary school enrollment reached nearly 100%. But Korea didn't stop there. The focus shifted to quality. Mathematics, science, and technology became the foundation of every curriculum. Students studied longer and harder than anywhere else in the world. Today, South Korea boasts a 98% high school graduation rate and over 70% of young adults attend university. This is among the highest in the world. Korean students consistently rank at the top in international assessments. This wasn't luck. This was a deliberate, decades-long commitment to human capital. When you invest in minds, you invest in the future. Number 9. The Strategic Export Economy. South Korea had no oil, no gold, no diamonds. What it did have was ambition and strategic thinking. In the 1960s, President Park Chung-hee launched an audacious plan: transform Korea into an export powerhouse. The strategy was simple but required perfect execution. Identify industries where Korea could compete globally, provide government support, and flood international markets with Korean products. The government selected specific sectors: textiles, steel, shipbuilding, and electronics. Companies received low-interest loans, tax incentives, and protection from foreign competition during their growth phase. But there was a condition. They had to export and compete internationally. Failure wasn't an option. Korean companies started small, manufacturing cheap textiles and simple electronics. But they learned, improved, and evolved. By the 1980s, Korean ships were dominating the seas. Korean steel was building skylines worldwide. Korean electronics were in homes across America and Europe. Today, South Korea exports over $600 billion worth of goods annually. From semiconductors to automobiles, Korean products are synonymous with quality and innovation. The export-led growth model didn't just build companies. It built a nation. Number 8. The chaebol system ***. Love them or criticize them, the chaebols transformed South Korea's economy. These massive family-owned conglomerates like Samsung, Hyundai, LG, and SK Group became the engines of Korean growth. The government strategically partnered with these companies, creating an ecosystem where business and national interest aligned. The chaebol model was unique. Unlike Western corporations focused solely on shareholder profits, chaebols thought generationally. They diversified across industries, from electronics to construction, from automotive to finance. This created resilience and scale that smaller companies couldn't match. Samsung started as a trading company selling fish and vegetables. Today, it's the world's largest smartphone manufacturer and a leader in semiconductors, accounting for nearly 20% of South Korea's entire GDP. Hyundai began as a construction firm. Now it's a global automotive giant and shipbuilding leader. Yes, the chaebol system has faced criticism for excessive power and influence. Reforms have been necessary and ongoing. But there's no denying their role in South Korea's rise. They took risks, invested in research and development, and competed fiercely on the world stage. They didn't just create products. They created national champions. Number 7. Technology and innovation investment. While many countries talked about innovation, South Korea acted. The commitment to research and development is staggering. South Korea invests over 4.5% of its GDP in R&D, the second highest rate in the world. For comparison, most developed nations invest around 2 to 3%. This investment created tangible results. South Korea leads the world in broadband penetration and internet speed. The average internet speed in Korea is more than twice the global average. 5G technology? Korea deployed it nationwide before most countries even began testing. The semiconductor industry tells the story perfectly. In the 1980s, Korea was nowhere in the chip market. The government and companies like Samsung invested billions in technology and talent. They sent engineers to study abroad, built state-of-the-art facilities, and refused to give up despite initial failures. Today, South Korea produces over 60% of the world's memory chips. Samsung and SK Hynix are industry titans. But innovation isn't just about hardware. Korean companies pioneered mobile gaming, fintech, and digital entertainment platforms. The strategy was clear: invest heavily, move fast, and never stop innovating. In the technology race, South Korea didn't just compete. It led. Number 6. Infrastructure development at lightning speed. Visit Seoul today and you'll see a gleaming metropolis with world-class infrastructure. Smooth highways, efficient subways, towering skyscrapers, and high-speed trains connecting the entire nation. But this didn't exist 70 years ago. Korea built it with remarkable speed and efficiency. The government prioritized infrastructure as the backbone of economic growth. Roads connected factories to ports. Railways moved goods and people efficiently. The Seoul Metro, started in 1974, grew into one of the world's most extensive and punctual subway systems. Today, over 8 million people use it daily. Then came the KTX, Korea's high-speed rail. Launched in 2004, it connects Seoul to Busan in just 2.5 hours, covering over 400 kilometers. The journey that once took more than 4 hours now feels effortless. This connectivity accelerated business, tourism, and quality of life. Korea also invested heavily in ports and airports. Incheon International Airport consistently ranks among the world's best, serving as a global hub connecting Asia to the world. The infrastructure wasn't just about convenience. It was strategic. Efficient infrastructure meant lower business costs, faster trade, and improved competitiveness. Korea understood that world-class infrastructure creates world-class opportunities. Before we continue with the remaining 5 ways South Korea became a global powerhouse, I want to share something with you. Every single day, we're uploading new videos exploring the incredible stories, innovations, and culture that makes South Korea truly special. If you're enjoying this journey and want to discover more amazing content about Korea's rise, technological achievements, and cultural impact, please subscribe to our channel. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's continue with number 5. Cultural discipline and work ethic. There's something uniquely powerful about Korean work ethic and discipline. It's rooted in centuries of Confucian values, respect for hierarchy, dedication to excellence, and collective responsibility. When Korea decided to rebuild after the war, these cultural traits became economic assets. Korean workers didn't just show up. They committed. 12-hour workdays were common. 6-day workweeks were standard. This wasn't exploitation as much as it was shared national determination. Everyone from factory workers to corporate executives believed they were building something bigger than themselves. They were rebuilding a nation. The concept of poli or hurry became part of Korean identity. Speed and efficiency weren't just preferences but cultural imperatives. Projects that took other countries years to complete, Korea finished in months. Buildings rose overnight. Industries transformed in a decade. But discipline went beyond work hours. It showed in education, where students studied late into the night. It appeared in business, where companies relentlessly pursued perfection. Korean quality standards became legendary. When Samsung had battery issues with the Galaxy Note 7, they didn't make excuses. They recalled millions of devices and fixed the problem. Reputation mattered more than short-term profits. This cultural foundation created an environment where excellence wasn't optional. It was expected. And that expectation drove Korea from poverty to prosperity. Number 4. Strategic government planning. South Korea's government didn't just govern. It strategically planned and executed long-term economic transformation. This began with the 5-year economic development plans launched in 1962. These weren't vague aspirations but detailed roadmaps with specific targets, timelines, and accountability. The first plan focused on energy and infrastructure. The second targeted chemicals and steel. The third emphasized heavy industry and exports. Each plan built on the previous one, creating cumulative progress. The government didn't leave development to chance or purely to market forces. They actively shaped the economy. Bureaucrats in agencies like the Economic Planning Board were among the nation's brightest minds. They studied successful models from Japan and the West, adapted them to Korean conditions, and implemented with precision. They coordinated between industries, allocated resources strategically, and monitored progress rigorously. Critically, the government maintained stability and policy consistency. While many developing nations suffered from political chaos and frequent policy reversals, Korea maintained focus. Even as leadership changed, the commitment to economic development remained constant. The government also created special economic zones, invested in science and technology institutes, and sent thousands of students abroad to acquire knowledge and bring it back. This wasn't just governance. It was national project management at the highest level. The results speak for themselves. Number 3. Embracing globalization and learning from others. Pride is important, but South Korea understood something crucial. To become the best, you must learn from the best. Korea aggressively pursued knowledge transfer and international partnerships. They didn't see globalization as a threat, but as an opportunity. In the early years, Korean companies partnered with American and Japanese firms. They licensed technology, studied foreign management practices, and sent engineers for training abroad. Samsung partnered with Japanese electronics companies. Hyundai learned from Ford. But Koreans didn't just copy. They learned, improved, and eventually surpassed their teachers. Korea also welcomed foreign investment strategically. Unlike some nations that feared foreign influence, Korea used it to access capital, technology, and global markets. They set terms that required technology transfer and local employment, ensuring foreign investment benefited Korean development. The government sent thousands of students to study at top universities worldwide. These students returned with cutting-edge knowledge and global networks. They became the leaders who would drive Korea's next phase of growth. Korea also embraced international trade agreements and joined global institutions. Membership in the OECD in 1996 and hosting major international events like the 1988 Olympics and 2002 World Cup weren't just prestige. They were strategic moves to integrate Korea into the global community. Korea understood that in a connected world, isolation meant stagnation. Engagement meant growth. Number 2. The cultural wave, soft power revolution. While economic and technological achievements are impressive, South Korea's cultural explosion might be its most remarkable accomplishment. Korean culture has conquered the world, creating what experts call the Korean wave or Hallyu. It started with television dramas in the late 1990s, capturing audiences across Asia. Then came K-pop. Groups like BTS, Blackpink, and EXO aren't just musicians. They're global phenomena with billions of views and fans on every continent. BTS alone generated billions in economic value and became cultural ambassadors introducing millions to Korean language and culture. Korean cinema reached new heights with films like Parasite winning the Academy Award for Best Picture in 2020, the first non-English language film ever to do so. Director Bong Joon-ho showed the world that Korean storytelling could compete with and surpass Hollywood. Korean cuisine went from relatively unknown to global obsession. Korean barbecue restaurants opened in every major city. Kimchi, bibimbap, and Korean fried chicken became internationally recognized. Korean beauty products and skincare routines, known as K-beauty, revolutionized the cosmetics industry worldwide. This cultural power generates enormous economic value. Tourism to Korea exploded. Korean language learning surged globally. Korean products became desirable simply because they're Korean. South Korea proved that a small nation could dominate global culture through creativity, quality, and strategic promotion. Soft power became hard economic returns. Number 1. Resilience and the refusal to give up. Above all strategies, investments, and policies, one factor defines South Korea's miracle: resilience. The Korean people faced impossible odds and refused to accept defeat. They transformed tragedy into triumph through sheer determination. Think about what Korea overcame. Centuries of foreign occupation. A devastating war that killed millions and destroyed everything. Poverty so extreme that survival itself was uncertain. Natural disasters, financial crises, political upheavals. Each obstacle would have broken most nations. Korea used them as motivation. During the 1997 Asian financial crisis, South Korea's economy collapsed. The currency crashed. Major corporations went bankrupt. The IMF imposed harsh austerity measures. Many countries in similar situations took decades to recover, if they recovered at all. What did Koreans do? Ordinary citizens donated their personal gold to help the nation pay its debts. Millions of people stood in line to contribute wedding rings, family heirlooms, and personal jewelry. This wasn't required. It was voluntary. The campaign collected over 200 tons of gold worth billions. Korea recovered from that crisis in less than 4 years and emerged stronger. This spirit of collective resilience, of refusing to surrender, runs through every achievement we've discussed today. When Samsung entered the semiconductor industry, experts said they'd fail. When Korea bid to host the Olympics, many doubted their capacity. But Korea doesn't accept impossible. The nation that rose from absolute devastation to become the world's 10th largest economy did so, because its people believed in a better future and worked relentlessly to build it. That's not just an economic strategy. That's the Korean spirit. Conclusion. From education to innovation, from strategic planning to cultural influence, South Korea's transformation represents one of humanity's greatest achievements. In just 70 years, a war-torn nation with no natural resources became a technological leader, economic powerhouse, and cultural phenomenon. This wasn't luck or accident. It was the result of visionary leadership, strategic planning, massive investment in people and technology, cultural discipline, and above all, the unbreakable spirit of the Korean people. South Korea didn't just develop. It revolutionized what developing nations believed was possible. The Korean miracle continues today. As the world faces new challenges in technology, climate change, and global cooperation, South Korea remains at the forefront, innovating and leading. The story isn't finished. It's still being written. And if history teaches us anything, it's this: never underestimate what Korea can achieve.